Hello everyone, welcome to Agentic AI Demystified with Studio, a series under TGIF and your backstage pass to get into the world of agent building. Today we are diving into one of the powerful ways to enhance and supercharge your Copilot Studio agents by extending it with the custom actions using MCP, the Model Context Protocol Server. If you ever wonder how to make your agent smarter, connected and enterprise ready, today's is the conversation that you should not miss. To talk more about this, I would like to invite Chandrakant Patil, the solution area expert for business application. Hi Chandrakant, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks Vishakha. Thanks for inviting. Pleasure
Thank
to
you.
be here.
Chandrakant, help us understand what exactly is MCP, and when it comes to Copilot Studio, why it is so important that we should start leveraging MCP servers.
Sure. So, I'll answer this question in two parts, Vishakha. One, what is MCP, and then having an MCP with Copilot Studio. So, when we talk about MCP, primarily, while it sounds to be a mystery for most of us, but we have been doing this traditionally, right? So, we had protocols like REST API, which enabled communication between a client and a server, right?
Right.
So, similarly, MCP Model Context Protocol is a protocol which enables, communication between your AI client and the server in the backend, right?
Got it.
So, the servers, when it comes to MCP, it comprises of two things, which are mostly very important. One is the resource, and the second one is the tool side of it, right? Okay. So resources eventually means, all of the data files that you would like to give, to your servers, so which can be accessed by your AI agents. And then we have tools, so tools is basically if your AI agent has to go and do some actions, connecting to any of your downstream systems or your upstream systems, maybe updating some record or maybe getting some data out of, any of your systems. So all of that is part of your tools, so you can, all of the actions that you want your agent to take, so those actions should be part of your tools within the MCP server.
Got it.
Now, coming to the second part of your question, like how do you bring in MCP in Copilot Studio, or how important it is to bring MCP server in Copilot Studio. So while you build an agent with a low-code, no-code approach with Copilot Studio today, and there are multiple MCP servers available, that Microsoft has launched. Today you will find an MCP server for email engagements, which is connected to your graph connectors in the backend. There is an MCP server for Dataverse, for Salesforce, for your meetings. So while all of those MCP servers are available out of the box, but what you can also have is a custom MCP server, for a system which you have built in your organization, a homegrown system basically, right? So there are agents SDK through which you can go ahead and build an MCP server, or there is an MCP wizard, which has been launched recently. So you just go ahead and give your server URLs, your authentication mechanism, that you want to choose, and it helps you build an MCP server, using the low-code approach.
In that case, how is it different from our Power Automate connectors?
So again, I gave you that analogy of having, and client to server interactions, using REST API. So when we talk about Power Platform connectors, those connectors are eventually APIs, right? And then we have an low-code wrapper on top of it, so that even a citizen developer can consume those APIs, call those APIs, and that's Power Platform connectors for you.
Right.
On the other hand, MCP server has multiple such connectors, which are available as part of your tools, right? So it can be something, through which you are updating the status of your record, or it can be something through which you're fetching, status of your records. Yeah. And all of this is very contextual. So what that means is, if I am asking a question related to a service ticket, that what is the status of my ticket, and my system goes and check if that information is available in any of my MCP server. It tells me that, okay, your ticket status is in progress, as an example, right? So when it gives me that information, further I say that, hey, it's been a week, I don't see any progress on this ticket, can you escalate this
Right.
So my MCP server can also go ahead and update, some escalation flag on that on top of that case. So basically, it does multiple things, with one single tool connected to your agent.
That's great, super helpful. In that case, Chandrakant, just help us understand what tools and resources we need to keep handy to get started with MCP.
So, if so, like I mentioned, Copilot Studio is a low-code, no-code tool for you, right? And it has a bunch of MCP servers which are available out of the box for you, right? And in case if you want to build an MCP server by yourself, so there are MCP SDKs which are available, and you can go ahead and develop one MCP for yourself.
Okay.
And what we have also done is, come up with a wizard which helps you building an MCP, by just following the wizard and giving the server URLs and description, for your MCP.
Great. In that case, let's get into the demo where we can see MCP server using in one of the agentic AI or the Copilot Studio agent in action.
Sure. Let me quickly go ahead and share my screen and show, some demo around the MCP server and Copilot Studio, which will bring more clarity. Uh, I am on my Copilot Studio screen, and I've just created a simple agent called Dataverse MCP agent. I haven't added anything into it. It's a blank uh, agent at this point of time. So we talked about MCPs, and I told you there are a bunch of MCPs which are available out of the box, right? So if I go to my agent and if I click on tools and say add tools here, and then go to MCP, I can see the list of MCPs which are available today, and with coming time you will see few more and many more MCPs getting added eventually into as an out of the box offering within the Copilot Studio. So while this MCPs are available out of the box, even if you want to create an MCP of your own for your homegrown system, then you can also do that. And if I click on MCP here, and this is the wizard that I was referring to, where you can give your server URLs and select the authentication and then click on create, and then it will help you to create your own custom MCPs as well. And there's an SDK way of doing it as well, where you can go ahead and create your own MCPs, right? So for this demonstration, let's go ahead and try to connect to Dataverse MCP server, which is available out of the box. So I'll just say Dataverse here, and my agent will go ahead and connect to the Dataverse MCP server. And here is the connection reference that I have given with one of the credentials that I have for Dataverse. So when I click on add and configure, it automatically adds that Dataverse MCP tool into my Copilot Studio. And once it's added, we'll get to see what are those tools which are available within this specific MCPs. So I talked about two important things that an MCP has, resources and tools, right? So resources eventually are the data files that your MCP can have, and then tools, it's basically a set of functions that you see which your language model can call, and either create something or either list something or read something, and a bunch of tools that you see which are available within Dataverse MCP. And similarly, you can have multiple such functions which can be added for different MCP servers that you can connect to Copilot Studio. So now that we have selected Dataverse MCP, and these are the tools that we know, and one of them that I can see is create record. So let's see if I'm able to create any record here. I'll just go to the testing pane now, and I'll say create a lead with following details: first name Chandrakant, say last name Patil, say phone number, and then let's give a topic, interested in coffee machine, say. And I'll just give this prompt to my agent, and let's see, if it can call my MCP server, which I have added, and it can identify, which specific function or tool within that MCP server has to be called, to create this lead into the Dataverse. Okay, so I see that the lead has been created. So let's go back into my Dynamics 365, which has my Dataverse in the backend, and see, if there are any leads, which it has created. Alright, so yeah, I see that it has created a lead called interested in coffee machine, and the first name is Chandrakant and last name is Patil, and it has entered the mobile phone number as well. Alright, so this is how seamless it is, for agents to communicate with a bunch of functions, which are available as tool into Copilot Studio, through which you can perform multiple actions, creating something, updating something, retrieving something, listing something, and all that with one single MCP agent that you have added.
Thank you so much, Chandrakant. This looks great and super helpful. Thank you so much for joining us today and clarifying MCP server protocol for us.
Pleasure to be here with you, Vishaka. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.